Hey, good evening and happy Navratri, or at least the beginning of Navratri to all of you. Lovely, lovely people out there. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for viewing these videos, showing an interest in my debut book, my debut relationship book, Mind the Gap. So today like I promised you yesterday, we're going to look at the delicious cougar connection. Why has the cougar connection become so popular? Have you ever had the time to sit back and reflect on what are the dynamics, what are the forces at work? Definitely, I think it's barrage that we live in the information age now, which is a lot more subtle. The earth apparently has ascended into a better and a higher vibration, which has slowed down the aging process. Plus, we have generally more consciousness, more health consciousness. We meditate more, we exercise more than the previous generation did. So we are definitely not going down the auntie path that our moms might have gone down at a certain stage in their lives. And today, if you walk around and you start labeling women aunties, they get very offended because they're working hard not to be the auntie. They're keeping themselves mentally, physically, emotionally young in every way. They're up to step with everything. They're jetting all over the world. And they're self-made. So to me, an auntie is somebody who had 3 kids, got fat, pretty much put her own life on the line and lived for everybody else. And there's an aura that an auntie has that today's women at any age don't really have if you go to see. So anyway, we will talk about now the magic of the cougar connection. Now, what is that magic? I myself find that I've connected with so many younger men over the last years. I've lost count. And whenever I've stopped to ask them, what is it that makes you want to hang out with me? They're like, you know what? There's less drama. You're not clinging. You're not pushing us to the altar. You're just happy to be around. You're happy to feel supported, feel loved, and have fun. But you're not killing yourself about, I got to nail this man. I got to catch this man. And it's true because I haven't looked at these younger men really in that light. I may have allowed myself to have crushes on younger men, not saying that I haven't, but I definitely don't think that I have the neediness that I did in my 20s, right up to my 30s maybe. I was still trying to fit into the patriarchal script, which is that you marry and you have 2 children before you turn a certain age. So, all said and done, we will analyze this through chapter 13, which is called Flying Out of the Age Cage. And I'm just going to read a little bit with you, so bear with me. Women who are in their 20s think they are sexy. Women who are in their 30s say they are sexy. Women who are above the age of 40 no longer have to think or say it, they own it. And that is the attitude you see the woman on the cover. She's like, dude, get a life. There is something about older women, and this is something like we just reviewed, where my younger colleagues have said that there's just more depth. Instead of like a 2 feet deep swimming pool, we're looking at a much more fathomless pool of experiences and learnings and attitudes and less neediness. The perfume of experience is actually the sexiest perfume there is. Coco Chanel famously said, a woman does not become interesting until she's over 40. Another famous quote by Frank Caesar goes, women get psychic as they age. You never have to confess your sins to a woman over 40. They already know. Think about that. Age cages in Indian society. So I think we are very confused. I often wondered whether a power lady like Priyanka Chopra Jonas would have ever found a man here 10 years her junior who would want to say, hey, I want to marry you on the 3rd date, and come down on his knees and, propose to her with a ring. And the answer I get really is that we're not quite there yet. We still grade women by age like it's one of the 4 C's of the diamond. And somehow a lot of men just think a woman's assets plummet after 35, and then it's all about the 3-letter word for them, and that's the only criteria they carry around. Still, in matrimonial ads, you'll have men at 49 and 50 seeking women, brides up to age 35. But look at the scenario globally. Let the men here think what they want, but women over 40 are the bitches who rule over the music stage, the movies, the endorsement scene, and they're fetching millions for good reason. They are outrunning their male counterparts in their juicy couture hoodies, working twice as hard, possibly than when they were younger, and winning. They're winning in every possible sphere. While a vast majority of Indian men can continue to walk away from the sophistication, wisdom, energy, and aura of success worn by these women, one would like to update the Desi boys that goddesses are not sexual pariahs. Check out visually driven industries. Madonna at 61, Jennifer Lopez 50, Elizabeth Hurley 55, Jennifer Aniston 51, and back home Madhuri at 53 released her first single, Candle, dedicated to the frontline workers fighting the pandemic war. And they are all energetic, sexy, and young at heart women, ever learning new skills, ever upgrading themselves. On the OTT platform, you had the 48-year-old Lisa Ray play a character her age in the Amazon Prime show 4 More Shots Please. And you had a 44-year-old Sushmita Sen making a screen comeback of sorts with Disney Hotstar's Arya. Let's take a look at the numbers. Madonna's net worth USD 570 to 800 million. J-Lo's net worth 400 million. Since 2004, so say for the last 16 odd years, she has consistently earned a place on the Forbes list, including the Celebrity 100 highest paid women in music and Hollywood's highest paid women. Elizabeth Hurley's net worth is esteemed to be US dollars 35 million, while Jennifer Aniston's net worth is estimated at US dollar 220 to 300 million. My source for this was Fox Businesses. Aniston placed 5th on the Forbes list of the world's highest paid actresses of 2019. Hurley appeared in a hot photo shoot in Hello during the lockdown, sharing how, with her 1.6 million Instagram followers, how as a businesswoman she was buying groceries, cooking, gardening, sheltering the family of 9 at her Herefordshire home. Not all of her family was as young as she was, Hurley did not want anyone else to step out. They brought her son Damien's 18th birthday in during this time with a dinner, flashing lights and balloons, and Liz did not lose her sense of fun and continued to uplift the spirits of her many followers through her lockdown updates on social media. And of course, we had Shobha Day doing her lockdown diaries, which were so uplifting as well. And she really didn't care whether her hair was in place or her roots were touched up, and she was just extremely cool through it all. So my next headline is Auntie Who, and what about the uncles? My immediate thoughts are that Indian men in their 20s and 30s would label Liz and J-Lo as aunties. Okay, so maybe hot aunties. Indian women in their 30s, however, would not tag Salman Khan at 54 an uncle. No, Salu Bhai could still be wooing a 36-year-old Katrina Kaif like it's the most natural thing in the world to be 20 years older to the woman that you romance. I personally think the word auntie should be locked up and forgotten. I have neither a husband or a large flabby body or 3 children, and I'm not a full-time homemaker. I'm up to step on fashion, I've traveled widely, and I would go out with who I please. My male cousin brother who lives in San Francisco had a hearty laugh when I shared this irritation with him, and he said, Sangeeta, I just tell tweens and teens, my dad was an uncle, I'm just nearing. And we'll end this on that note, and we really like the Desi boys to stop doing the auntie stuff. Stop, people have broken engagements when they find out that the prospective bride is a month older or 3 months older. And this has happened in my own friend circle. There's a friend of mine who's a very dear friend, a lawyer friend. And I remember when he gave me his wedding invitation, he said, it was such an uphill battle because my wife is 3 months older than me. And, they worry about the biological clock ticking. And thank goodness with science today, you can put a freeze on that, or you can even have donor eggs, or you can have kids at any age. So finally, the age of the goddess has really dawned on women and made it much more equitable as a world. And I wish every single woman a fabulous Navratri, and I hope that she's partnered with the right man for her, who lets her flourish, who lets her be happy, who's not insecure about her success, and who celebrates life with her. Take care, and till tomorrow, where we will hit upon some new interesting areas to think about in our relationship skills. Bye. Ciao.